You walked into a weird environment.
I know. Isn't it awesome? Yeah.
Okay.
Let me get Vanya in there. Who's? She's like hiding.
I'm gonna waste all the battery.
How do you feel about that?
So cross out your
I'm like, I don't have to take notes, so I'm good.
She has long hair, separated her hair, and like, there's
You have to get yourself too.
Okay.
Selfie
Look
a little
it.
bit.
There. Happy. That was the only time I'm gonna show up.
Just record up until we get to the video.
Okay.
Okay?
Let me see. This is like the perfect song.
Okay. Tonight we're gonna move kind of fast paced, but you are being reported because of the fact that every semester there are peer evaluations. There are student evaluation, there are peer evaluation. Peer evaluation is when a faculty member that's on a tenure track or already tenured come and observe the class. However, since this class is late, it's difficult to get some of the senior faculty who want to stay until 8 o'clock on campus. Because I know if I was a senior faculty, I would be here. But so like, in order for them to make it as convenient as possible, I'm gonna record the first hour or so they can watch, because usually they're only in the class for an hour and they can watch and see what's going on. So the person who was assigned to observe the class, Dr. Garcia, I give him the video so he can see how you all interact and all this stuff. I told him some things about the class, some of the dynamics in the class, so he's gonna be looking out for that, okay? Are there any questions? Okay. So, tonight, what I want to discuss before we watch video is intersectionality, right? What intersectionality is, we're going to basically discuss the intersection between race, gender, and religious or spirituality, okay? And one of the dynamics that very few people talk about and discuss when we talk about multicultural counseling competence is intersectionality. What it is this. You do not have one dimension to describe an individual, okay? And what I mean by that is this. While we talked about race, a lot of times, everyone in here is more than just their race. We talk about gender, everyone in here is more than just their gender. So what happens is all these variables intersect and it creates the individual, right? So with that intersection, what happens is this, at any given moment, one of these are the most salient. Okay, so what I want you to do now is this. Think of 3 demographics that describe you. And as you think about them, I want you to write them down on a sheet of paper. Think about those 3 demographics that describe you. And after you do that, I'm going to show you how difficult it can be when you're doing counseling with someone and you're trying to be multicultural. This is why our model that we discussed, the respectful model, is going to be so important. Look up when you're finished. Okay, now, what I need for you all to do is someone read off their 3 lists.
Me?
Hey, get volunteer.
White, male, and heterosexual.
White, male, and heterosexual. Okay. Someone else. Yeah.
African American male Christian.
African American male Christian. Okay. Someone else.
Mexican American female student.
Mexican American female
Female student.
Okay. Anyone else?
I put white female student.
White female student. Okay. The one you put first is the one that you're most salient with, right? That's your dominant identity. Because see, the thing about it is, what happens a lot of times is this. What we do is, we'll see someone and we'll identify them. But what this does is, it gives you the opportunity to self-identify. So when you self-identify, what happens is this. The one that you name first is the one that you're most salient with, okay? So if you said your race first, that's the one that you're most salient with. If you said your gender first, that's the one you're most salient with. So the thing about it is, when you're doing counseling, and you gotta be careful, that's why the respectful model is so important, because see, all those intersect. And the funny thing about it is this, while we're discussing it now, tomorrow, it might take a different approach. So it's like, if you, like say for example, if you put, then you hit Christian, right?
I said African American male Christian.
Right. Tomorrow, Christian might be the first one, right? So it might be Christian, African American male. So it's like, the thing about it is this, it's not concrete, so it can fluctuate. Okay? So that's the most difficult thing when you're dealing with someone in counseling, because that's why the respectful model is so important. The respectful model is so important because it covers all the possible variables about the intersection. Okay? So what I need you all to do is get into your groups.
I'm like, I'll be in the outside here.
And what I want you to discuss is this. Do you two go? Yes. And what I need you all to discuss in your groups is this. Do you feel pressure to be loyal to your race, gender, religion, and spirituality by members in that community? So if you're Christian, do people that's Christian make you feel pressure that you gotta be Christian? Do your race, the group that you belong to as far as your race is concerned, do you feel added pressure to where it's like you gotta be that first? Your gender, do you feel pressure as far as that is concerned? Do people in that community make you feel pressure that you have to be most salient with that group?
I guess you kind of have to like remember where you go.
Do you have that sense of pride in? Can you ask that question again? Huh? No, it's so for the faculty. Or racial pride. And it stands for,
Like not forgetting where you come from.
Yeah, can you show me? Female? What was your thing?
My thing was female.
I don't feel pressure by
Mexicans do feel pressure to call yourself.
I found myself.
Identify as female first.
in terms of why.
I don't know, I don't like feel.
But I do feel pressure, you know, by females.
Yeah,
and
you
males.
feel pressure to be
There's more
identified
like
with
an
white,
expectation to be like
because that's
feminine or like
media,
feel
everything kind of
like
projects that as being
female for
How about male?
right and macho.
male, macho. My dad did a lot. And then society kind of emphasizes that separation of gender roles and sex roles, and you still get a lot of people who are really protest against homosexuals. Because you got our brothers of homosexuals.
Working out, stuff like that, and all this.
Yeah.
Your dad wanted you to be macho? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, my dad wanted all of us to be macho. No. I was more about being a group out of
I'll probably embarrass myself.
What about you?
Yeah, I guess that is.
Yeah, so
Like that in one
let's see, I'd say pressure from all three.
Going back to
You
the
said
I feel pressure because my grandma is a shaman, so I feel the pressure to like continue with it, with being animism, of believing in your spirit, of believing in your ancestors and whatnot.
You mean just in general, or just like day-to-day life, or?
Even though I don't want to continue with that pressure is there, but it's
Okay.
Did you end up writing?
Is it?
I did it, I still got to.
Oh, first? Oh, she put my room.
You put your.
I did the same thing. I wrote Mexican American. I didn't think it was more important when I wrote it down. It was just the first thing I thought of.
Now that you, I didn't either, I didn't really know about
I think
that.
there is like a pressure to like act a certain way as a Christian.
Is he raising his hand for us to stop, or what?
It's a pressure,
No.
but.
So did everybody go?
No, I just put my raise head for a Japanese male student. I don't know, I've never really felt the pressure. Like, you know, my dad, he's kind of like that. Tries to be all like macho and stuff, but he never really like tried to put it on me to be like that too. It was just kind of like, be whatever you want to be kind of thing, but
Like, they know that he's sad.
I probably kind of learned it through observation, though. So you might portray it that way, and you're like, oh, I want to be like him.
yeah, a little bit. Like, he wanted me to,
So you kind of
you know, play sports,
Yeah, like, I feel like
go
it's
to
more
the
like,
gym,
I don't know,
just stuff like that, like watching
there's
or
like
something. It's easy to
accountability,
say,
like,
but
I have.
I kind of enjoyed doing that stuff anyway, so.
They're gonna call me out.
All the masculine stuff.
I wouldn't say, and then for students, I wouldn't say that anyone necessarily needs to feel pressured to identify as a student. I don't know. I think it feels good to identify as a student though. I like saying that in school. And
Yeah, it does. I had some bad experiences, though. I was a custodian for a while. Working part-time on this ID.
Yeah, like, I didn't have, I do, at least I don't think I did, not very overtly, but I do it to myself now, so I don't have that pressure, that outside pressure, but I feel like I do it to myself. Be a lady, look like a lady, act like a lady, whatever that means exactly to me is very different than the next person. But I never thought about it until I definitely identify stronger with being female and just different relationships
Like,
and how
you're supposed to be,
and
so
female,
like
like I said, daughter.
I feel like there's there.
yeah, that pisses me off too. I mean, everybody just like that. I mean, everyone
I
should
do
be treated.
something that I probably shouldn't have, like everybody's watching me. and
Really?
Just put a bad example. I feel bad.
Yeah, like for me, it's like something like I so I didn't drink, and like I guess a lot of my friends like saw me as a Christian, and like doesn't do these things at parties. And I remember, I took away from the church and stuff with me, and then my senior year I drank, and like I got so much crap from all of them.
Wasn't like a student salary.
Like you went down kind of thing.
I mean,
So
you're
there's
still
different
working.
definitions.
Yeah.
You started out about 20 grand
A
year.
You're like a starting teacher.
A starting teacher makes about 45.
Really starting?
Yeah.
Is it like
I didn't realize it was that high.
45, yeah. But yeah, then you have like ex-military, you know, a lot of guys are ex-military in there, and it's just like, what makes you think it's okay to treat someone this way?
Yeah.
Like you don't even know the person.
I'm curious to know, like, I get that too.
I work at a school too, but I just do the after school programs that are kind of on our own. But I can see how that
aren't so closely, like, aren't Spanish speaking and aren't so closely connected to their Mexican heritage. How are they with that in your family?
I'm out of my immediate family. I'm the only one that speaks Spanish. All of my siblings speak any Spanish, and so it's just me, my aunts and uncles. My mom has broken Spanish. She'll probably have better Spanish than she does. My dad doesn't know any Spanish. His family knows no Spanish at all.
Mexican?
Yeah,
That's very
yeah.
true.
And so they see me as like the spokesperson, I guess, like more in tune with the culture. So if they have questions about things, they'll ask me before they would ask like another brother or sister. Like my uncles would ask me before. But my husband is very
It's okay, Mom.
So that's why they would ask me.
As you listen to everyone's story, did anything stand out to you that was kind of shocking as you heard how everyone self-identified?
Like about herself or about her group members?
Either one. Wanya?
I was wondering, I was talking about being an African American and Mexican American and the pressure to be African American, I guess, if I got that right. I didn't really think that, I didn't know that that was there for people who are, for individuals who are biracial. That they may feel pressure from one race.
Yes.
Did I hear anything interesting? Well, I mean, when we were talking about race, and we talked about identifying as a student. Yeah, I mean, I guess I kind of have the same thing just because I'm biracial also. I mean, it's not like all the time there's like a constant battle between the two, but yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm around one side of the family more than the other, you know, I can have those feelings also.
I think what was shocking to me was the fact that I had such a hard time even just writing out a religion. Because I feel like a really huge pressure from my grandparents and from my parents as well to keep the tradition of being in the religion of animism, which is the belief of spirits and ancestor and whatnot. So because my grandma is a shaman, so just having that pressure of keeping the culture is one of the things that I kind of battle with a lot. And it's just hard. So just realizing that really surprises me because I never really took time to really think about it. I mean, I do occasionally sometime, but I kind of just throw it off because it's just something that I don't really want to think about.
When I first arrived here in Fresno, that was my identity. Muslim, black, male, right? I identified myself initially as a Muslim who happens to be black, and I'm a male. right? And the reason that is because, see, in Chicago, there's a large black population of Muslims. So it wasn't nothing unusual to be walking around being a black Muslim, right? You have the Nation of Islam there, you have 5 Percenters there, you have the Moorish Science Temple there, you have the Sufi Muslims there, you have Sunni Muslims there, you have Shiite Muslims there, and they're black, right? So it's like it was no real big deal, because it was a large population, so it wasn't a big deal. However, when I got here, and I got on campus, this is how everybody was trying to identify me. Matter of fact, I didn't even put that, it was like this. It was like that. Muslim wasn't even in the equation. That's how everyone was identifying me. Because there's not a large population of black Muslims here. So it was like everyone wanted me to identify black first. That's how everyone wanted me to identify black first. So the thing about it is, like, when I came on campus, the first thing the covert orientation I received was that you got to help all the black students. And you got to stand in solidarity with all the black faculty and staff members and the black community because they need you, right? Now, I had no problem with that, but it's like whenever I told anybody I was Muslim, it was like I landed here from Mars, right? Because see, the thing about it is like this, whenever they looked at the normal stereotype on who a Muslim is, they always thought of people who were from the Middle East or from Asia, right? So the African American community here is largely Christian, okay? So all the community leaders, just like in the South, are Christian. So whenever they heard my name, they thought it was super exotic, so they were like, well, Raheem, how did you get a name like that? And I explained to them I'm Muslim. It was like, then I was totally not accepted by this population. Because see, the funny thing about this population was that in order to actually fit into that fraternity, you had to be Christian. Right? You had to strongly identify as Christian. But I didn't. So the thing about it is like, this being a part of the identity was this. I remember when even now, when people describe me and they say, do you know Raheem? Do you know Dr. Raheem? Right? And they say, well, no, I don't think yeah, you do. He's the black professor in counselor ed. Right? So it's like, the thing is that, see the difference on how others would identify me when I arrived here, and how when I first arrived here, how I was identifying myself, right? So much so that my own saliency as far as my identity got into question. So I felt totally uncomfortable here, right? So the thing about it is this. Next thing I want you all to discuss is, how do you think others identify you? And how does that make you feel pressure if it's different from the way you identify yourself?